All right, so now let's talk about your weekly recipe presentations. So each week your lab will be spelled out. Sometimes it's more than one piece, sometimes it's more than one recipe, but these are the requirements for these presentations. So you'll be assigned, like week one, we have a drop biscuit recipe. So I want you to take pictures and document the whole time you are preparing your lab. So you're going to create a PowerPoint or a Google slide presentation. Your presentation must include on slide 1 your name, the course title and date, the recipe name or names. You can combine recipes into one presentation. Just make sure you kind of let me know that they're all together, so when I go through grading I can see that. And then an original photo in relation to the recipe. So I don't want, I've had students in the past start copying images off of the internet of, say, a biscuit. That's not the point. The point of this is I want to see what you guys are creating. So please use original photos only. The preceding slides must include a copy of the recipe with the proper measurements, a photo of your station setup. This is major. I want to see what your station looks like before you even begin, and this goes into detail in your lectures for week 1. I want to see your mise en place, which is your ingredients and your equipment before you even begin to cook. So everything measured out. I want you to snap a picture. When in doubt, take a picture. It's easier to edit yourself later, but just take a lot of photos as you're going. I need to see process photos for each step and a photo of the final result. So this is basically just a slideshow of all of your pictures, so that I'm not going to be there with you in the kitchen, so it's important to me to see exactly what's happening, so then if you do run into trouble, I can kind of help you along. And then this is a rubric, and to try to see how things will be graded. So you can look at this on your own time, but basically this is how I'll be grading you. So I want to see for ingredients, I want to make sure that I can see all ingredients used are listed with the correct measurements. The procedure, the sequence of slides and steps of the process are well organized, logical, and clear. Your process photos, all photos are clear and in focus. Photos document every step of the recipe, and all photos are original. Organization, your station setup is proper and used and shown. Workstation remains clean throughout the process. Working and cleaning as you go is an important thing in a professional kitchen. So if I see flour thrown all over your kitchen, that's not what we are looking for. And spelling. Just make sure you do a little spell check before you submit it as well, and including grammar. So let's dive into, so this is basically how things are set up week-wise. So let's look at week 1 for an example. So you'll have, each week is set up the same. You'll have a weekly objectives, and that's what our goals of each week are. You'll have a section of weekly reading, which have all the reading assignments that are required, and you'll see a lot of those, the answers are found in the reading for your quizzes, so make sure you do the readings. That's why getting a book is pretty important. We have an assignment checklist, so if you scroll over them, it actually links to the assignment page, but you can also find them down on the bottom as well. But if you click on, let's say, the lab for drop biscuit recipe, it'll open up to, again, it lists our objectives, what you need to do to prepare for the lab, the procedure, and this is the recipe. So as you go through and you're documenting and getting everything done, you can submit it down here, your presentation down here. Another requirement is that we will be doing a reflection. So after you have compiled your photographs and done your PowerPoint presentation, you can submit them through Moodle, and then I want you to write a 300-word reflection on what you learned. You can compare and contrast the final product. You can discuss the texture, taste, look, and difficulty of the recipe. You can talk about what you thought was successful, what you might want to do differently, and then I want you to post this reflection into the weekly discussion board. And then you need to give back at least feedback to at least one other classmate. So maybe somebody else had the same struggles you did and you can relate to that. Or maybe someone thought that something was confusing and maybe you can give them a little bit of insight, and maybe you've had that same challenge but you overcame it. So just make sure that you post to the discussion board but also give some feedback. There'll be weekly quizzes, and the quizzes can be found here. And then you have one attempt allowed, but there is no time limit on it. So you can take all the time you need to get that done. There's a math assignment here. For the week 1, it's just I have a Word document, and then there's an answer sheet. So you can fill out the answer sheet with your answers and submit that down here for your submission. I keep in mind, again, I just designed this course, so if there's a due date mess up, please be kind. But I should have, everything should be as due, again, Sunday nights at 11:59. So then we have underneath your little assignment checklist are the lectures. So I have some PowerPoint presentations that I've pre-recorded with a voiceover.
How to set up your kitchen like a pro, week 1.
There you go. So you can watch these. I've kind of break them up into relevant chunks, so you can do that. We have a Maureen, who is going to be a part of our course. She is a lab tech here. She's a great resource if you can't get a hold of me or you feel more comfortable talking to somebody else. She has gone through this culinary program, so she knows firsthand what it's like. She made these great flashcards that you guys can access. And it's a PowerPoint, and it's a good study guide for learning the different equipment in the kitchen. Let's go back. And then, again, this is another list of. So week 1, I have a shopping, and so each week we'll have a shopping list and equipment list. To make it easy for everybody, I did try to make things as cheap as possible, so I know that economically this is it's so everyone can. But if anybody has trouble affording or accessing ingredients, please let me know as soon as possible so we can work on it. And basically, if your kitchen is missing any equipment, you can borrow it from another family member. Maybe you go to that, maybe you go to a Goodwill, has a tons of kitchen equipment. Maybe if you need new nesting bowls or whatever, the Dollar Tree has these things. Nothing is going to be heavy equipment. There's not going to be a food processor or mixers. Every recipe I have selected is pretty basic. So you probably already have everything in your own home. And again, if you don't, please let me know ahead of time so then we can work on it before the week is due. So let's take a look at week 2. Same thing. So we have our readings, we have our objectives. Now we're going to be talking about week 2 will be your first knife skills lab. So let's take a look at that. So we're going to be learning the knife cuts. So my biggest thing is you're going to need a decent knife. So whether that means going to get your sharpened or, investing in a new knife, it's pretty essential to try to get these knife cuts done successfully. But so week 1, we're going to be doing 1/2-inch knife cuts. I have a video that I'll be uploading of a demo on how to do things. The items to be cut are here, which are also listed on our shopping list. The cuts observed, and you'll be doing the same thing you did with your labs. You'll be doing another presentation, just doing your knife cuts. I basically just want to see your setup, the photos of each cut, the item before you start cutting as a reference, and I also want to see what your discarded waste looks like. We'll go into that as those labs of why that's important. But just make sure that you're taking pictures of every single thing. And this will spell out the procedure as well, and then you can submit down below. Lectures will be here, your lab. So week 2, we have multiple parts to our lab. If you want to do it all on one PowerPoint presentation, but still the same rules apply, where I need to see the mise en place for each recipe. I need to see the recipe listed out for each one. If you want to put it all in one presentation, that's fine, but every part still needs to be there because they will be graded separately. We have a quiz. We'll have a math quiz this week, and then this is your week 2 reflections. Same thing. Your reflection can be talking about your knife skills, or maybe the daunting task of breaking down a chicken by yourself. So that's where that stuff will go. So when I told you guys about signing up for Ruby, this is it. So if once you sign up, you'll be able to follow this link, and it connects you to the exact video in which I want you guys to watch. So in this case, this is how to butcher a chicken, but I also did upload a video of me doing it myself, so you'll find that there. Again, I'm still working on a few things, so so hopefully by the end of the week, this course will be live, so you guys can kind of dive into it yourself. And what else did I want to tell you guys? Let's go back to Moodle. Closed up my tab, so let me just get quickly back in here. So basically each week will be different themed. Once we get to the end, we start to have a little bit of fun. Week 12, we have a chopped challenge where your family member will pick out 4 ingredients: a protein, a vegetable, a starch, and a wild card, and you need to write a recipe for it. And then the next week we'll have a cultural week where you get to pick out a recipe celebrating a different culture. Midterms will be both a knife skills test and a written exam. Same with the final, it'll be a written. And then we also have another assignment where I'll talk about that a little bit more soon, about a COVID essay, maybe how it's affected an open topic of how COVID has affected the hospitality industry. So that'll be here as well, and you have all semester to work on that. Maybe it's a reporting. Maybe you report the progress of how it started in March and where we are by spring. So let's see how that goes. So if you guys have any questions, let me know. I'm really excited. Hopefully you guys are excited. If you have any questions or concerns, please don't hesitate to ask, and let me know.